Madhouse, I don't know how you did it again, but One Punch Man continues to bring the hype. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? RogersBase here with my review of One Punch Man Anime Episode 2, The Lone Cyborg. And once again, Madhouse, I don't know how you do it. As someone who is not entirely familiar with the series, I have not read the manga, I'm not caught up, I'm just watching it week to week in the anime. It's insane. I mean, this series is insane. Amazing action, stellar comedy, mystery upon mystery. It's the perfect anime series. I genuinely mean this. Thank you to everybody who introduced me to this. I am loving this series. And again, maybe it's because I'm just coming off of reviewing last night's One Piece episode, but this is in like an entirely different realm. This is a different ball game. This is next level anime greatness. I am loving every little bit of this. Now, the episode started off and we had a pretty epic fight between this mosquito girl, I don't know her name, I don't think they ever said her name, and this new character who we got teased at the beginning of, at the end of last week's episode, Genos, who is this awesome cyborg. He's a 19-year-old cyborg. He basically becomes the Kohai to Saitama's senpai near the end of this episode, and I gotta say, that opening fight alone could have been an episode in and of itself, but they just continued to layer on more and more of these epic fights. And that sequence with the mosquito girl and the cyborg, when Genos basically, I think it's Genos, it's either Genos or Genos. I mean, obviously, as I get used to the series, I will get used to the names, but Genos, when he overdrives his arm in that fight with the mosquito girl, and he basically like, bounces away, jumps out of the building, and then like rockets his way down and starts shooting and incinerating everything. Oh my god, so good. So good. And like I said, I like the mosquito girl too. I hope we see her again. I doubt it, because Saitama, when he ended up coming in and saving the day after Genos said he was going to self-destruct, and Saitama just goes, boom, one punch annihilates her, blows her up, all the blood goes everywhere. I hope we see her again. I just don't think it's going to be the case, but I just like, what? That whole opening sequence from beginning to end, especially the little bits with Saitama, because not only did it have the awesome action, of the cyborg versus the mosquito girl, but we had Saitama coming in with those jokes. Like, when he's sitting there on his porch, and the one lone mosquito is trying to hit him, and then he just goes, boom, and you see the impact of every punch and every slap as he's trying to break the mosquito. Like, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, especially when he claps and he's like, got him, and then one little mosquito just trails off. It's comedy gold. It's comedy gold. And even when he finally runs into the street, he meets Genos for the first time, and Genos is like, this is dangerous, you can't stay here. And then Genos does that incinerate attack, and then burns off all of Saitama's clothes. It was so funny. We see like different pieces of rubble covering up different parts of Saitama's body. I mean, Madhouse has the jokes. Whoever writes One Punch Man, I gotta do some more research on this series, but whoever is the mangaka of One Punch Man, you're glorious. You are glorious. And a great thing I noticed, and I'm going to get into this when we get in the second half of this episode, another thing I noticed is that this has so many great callbacks to other anime series. Like, just off the top of my head, I loved the little bit where Saitama was dodging every single one of the Beast King's attacks. It was just like, yo, does Saitama have that observation haki? Does he have observation haki? And I was just getting flashes to One Piece. The bit after he ends up blowing up the Beast King and the ground dragon, I think was his name, the little mole, when he just basically starts escaping into the ground, he's like, oh man, I can't fight this dude. And then Saitama's face just shows up like a Titan in the wall in Attack on Titan, and he's just like, found you, and he punches him out of the ground. It's just so perfect. I think the great thing about One Punch Man that I've come to realize is that Saitama is pretty much the joke character. He's this joke overpowered character that if anybody messes with him, no matter how macho they seem, no matter how powerful they seem, they're gonna get bopped. They're gonna get bopped. And the anime and the manga, I'm assuming as well, just plays this up to an amazing, amazing point. Because like, even that little bit when he was underneath in the ground and he was sitting there in the ground, and whatever character it was who ended up pulling him down to the ground, or the ground dragon or something, when Saitama's sitting in the ground, he's just like enjoying being in the ground. He's enjoying like the warmth of the dirt, and he says to the Beast King, like, all right, enough messing around. He just climbs out of the ground as the Beast King threatens to punch out his eyes. Then he looks at him and he's like, all right, let's get this fight started. And the Beast King starts, buffing up his muscles. The ground dragon's like, come on, you don't want to kill him, because they don't know Saitama's strength. He goes in with that final like buff attack. He's slashing all over the place. And then I just love even the name of Saitama's attacks. One of Saitama's attacks was consecutive normal punches. Like there's no cool name to his attack. It's just like, it's what he does. One punch, he annihilates them. And he went in with that consecutive normal punch, blows up the Beast King, and sends him off to the underworld. Like, so good. Now, my big question, a big question I want to ask to you guys, because again, I don't follow the manga. Based on how the anime was portraying that fight with Genos and the armored gorilla cyborg, is the armored gorilla the same insane cyborg that took out Genos' village when he was 15 years old? That wasn't entirely made clear to me, and maybe I either missed that when I was watching the anime episode, but leave that in the comments below. Even if it's a spoiler, I don't care. I mean, spoiler tag it if you can spoiler tag it or whatever, just or try to, like, you know, put some dots and then make it so people have to click read more. But I'm very curious as to if that armored gorilla cyborg is the same cyborg that ended up taking out Genos' village. I doubt that would be the case. I don't think that would already introduce that character this early on. And it also seems like that armored gorilla isn't entirely bad. I mean, he's obviously working for that House of Evolution along with that evil scientist that we don't know his name yet, but he seems pretty awesome as well. But it seems like at the end of this episode, the armored gorilla, after he pretty much realizes he's outmatched by Saitama and by Genos, he's like, all right, listen, I'm going to tell you everything I know. He drops the facade of being a cyborg. It's great. It's great. Again, the comedy gold was there. The scene in particular, while we're talking about the cyborgs, when Genos is giving his backstory, at first I was like, I'm not really digging this scene because they kept cutting to like all these other little panels, like a watering can being filled up, and then like a little roly-poly bug on the ground. And I was like, all right, this is good, but this is like very stereotypical, like Japanese, I'm telling you my sad backstory. But they played it up to, it was just so good. When Saitama basically, he hears this story, and little by little, as you're getting annoyed that we're not really seeing Genos' face, we're just seeing all these other random little images, you know, Saitama is getting annoyed as well. It's sort of building up within him, and he finally breaks out like, couldn't you say this in 20 words or less? And he starts yelling at Genos. It was great. Now, in terms of power level, I also want to talk about Genos. I don't really know where he stands. Obviously, you know, he was able to take down that armored gorilla in that fight with him. We didn't really see the full fight, but we do see that he was able to take him down. Beast King was number 2, so I'm assuming that Genos is kind of like the Krillin to Saitama's Goku. But I think still not even on that level yet. I still think not even on that level. Saitama's like already Super Saiyan God Goku, and Genos is just like Season 1 Krillin, I feel like, at this point in terms of power levels. But again, I don't read the manga. I'm only watching the anime. Just based on what I see, I think Saitama is like so far above everybody else that he's basically a joke character. He's so powerful that nobody has any chance against him. But one of the big thing I want to ask you guys, and you know, leave your comments in the comments below. Try not to spoil it for the anime-only watchers like myself. But you know, who is that scientist dude? We find out about this mysterious House of Evolution. We find out in the promo that it was actually the home of the Mosquito Girl as well. So all these weird animal creatures, the Beast King, the Ground Dragon, the Mosquito Girl, the weird slug and the frog, which I was kind of sad when they get sliced up by the Beast King. You know, the slug and the frog land in the ground, and the slug's like, oh man, you know, are we okay? Is everything all right? And the Beast King just slices them in 3. It was so good. It was so good. So I'm curious as to what this House of Evolution is all about. You know, are they this I don't know, like a gene splicing thing, or are they testing on animals? I'm not really sure, and I'm sure we're going to find out next episode, because based on the promo, it sounds like next episode is all about this mysterious scientist. And again, you know, what is up with that mysterious scientist? Because at the end of the episode, we see that the scientist actually has a bunch of clones of himself, and they're all working for him. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're all developing these animal creature fighter things, and they're just like attacking, or they're all aliens or something. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that we'll find out something by next episode. Just overall, amazing animation, once again. Amazing comedy. Like, really, I was not expecting this series to be as funny as it is, but it is the perfect mix of action and comedy. And I feel like I'm overhyping this, but at the same time, I really feel like I'm not. Like, this episode, I thoroughly enjoyed from beginning to end. I'm going to give this one another 5 out of 5. Like, Madhouse is on a roll, because I feel like they're introducing characters like Genos, who we really are interested in, and then also like introducing these minor characters who we hope to see again, like the Mosquito Girl and like this scientist guy. You know, they're introducing little mysteries, like who's the cyborg that took out Genos' hometown. We find out more about Saitama. We see Saitama just do one extra little attack. Normally he just does one punch. This time to take out the Beast King, he did consecutive normal punches, but like, overall, he's just so powerful, so I can't wait to finally see the match for Saitama. I don't think we're ever going to get it, to be honest, because he's just so powerful, and if we do get it, maybe it'll be like season finale type stuff, but overall, Great second episode. Guys, like this episode review if you liked anything I had to say. Please be sure to subscribe because I bring you guys reviews of One Punch Man's anime every single weekend, as well as reviews of One Piece, Once Upon a Time, Nintendo news videos, Disney news videos, all that good stuff. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!